above the rest.
I think of all the dads in EastEnders, I think top of the tree really has got to be Den Watts.
From what I remember from all those years ago, Den was an adulterer. I think he was a little bit of a gangster, and I think he was an all-round butthead.
He was also one of the founding fathers of Walford and a devoted dad to his adopted daughter, Sharon.
Although he was dirty, Den, when it came to his daughter, you know, nobody was ever good enough for her and her bubble perms and her splendid pullovers. But yeah, he doted on her. She was his absolute blue-eyed little princess.
Despite her terrible taste in jumpers, Den adored Sharon, and the feeling was mutual.
Sharon absolutely loved him to bits. You know, he was the epitome of swashbuckling glamour. And what kid wouldn't want a dad who seemed as glamorous and powerful and king of the square, which is what he was.
What's bothering my little princess, eh?
I used to love the way Den used to call Sharon Princess.
Hello, princess.
Den's weakness absolutely was Sharon, which made him a much more interesting character, you know, because it was such a weak spot for him that, you know, he would do anything for her.
Just the two of us.
I think everybody's got a love of their life. There's generally just one, and they're kind of like your soulmate. If you're really, really lucky, that will be your wife. And I think with Den, that wasn't the case. The love of his life, his soulmate, was Sharon, and that's what made that relationship fascinating.
Boyfriends came and went, but no one ever posed a threat to Den's position as the #1 man in Sharon's life. Until one day.
When little Den turned up, or Fit Den as we like to call him, I guess Big Den's parenting kind of took a whole new twist.
Because when Sharon got it on with Den's long-lost son, Daddy Watts was not a happy bunny.
You might just about your match there, you know.
Sharon got to see the possessive side of him, the manipulative side of him, and the very, very jealous side of him.
I'm not talking to you in that state. Look at you. Standing there like some slut.
Don't you dare call me that. I'm not a slut.
When Sharon was obsessed with Dennis, then, you know, this is the woman he loved. Den loved Sharon.
He just had this feeling that he thought he was the only person good enough for her, but she was his daughter. It was kind of a weird relationship.
He just didn't want anybody to have anything to do with Sharon other than himself.
But there was no pulling the wool over Fit Den's pretty eyes.
You're jealous.
What?
You're jealous.
Perhaps it was envy. You know, Dennis was a younger version of him. He could see that this man was taking his precious daughter away from him. He knew that perhaps, you know, if she went off with Dennis, she wouldn't love him as much.
Den wanted Sharon all to himself, and he'd stop at nothing to get his way.
He was just so utterly ruthless in the way that he split the two of them up. Sleeping with Zoe, getting her to lie that she was pregnant.
You either lie to him or you lose him. For good.
Driving his daughter away from the only love of her life. I mean, you could see, there was ruthless stuff. He was determined to split them up.
And split them up he did. Still, it wasn't long before Den's princess discovered the truth about her delightful dad.
Secrets never stay secret in Albert Square. So, of course, the truth is found out. And there was this scene where Sharon comes back to the square, and it's been engineered that she will just over here, just as her father is confessing everything he's done to ruin her life.
Well, go on, Zoe. Go and tell your family the reason that Dennis left you is because he caught you in bed with me. Tell them I'm the father of your baby. Let them broadcast it to the world. I don't care. There's not one single person round here who I give a toss about. Princess.
It's only when she finds out exactly all the terrible things that he's done that she just can't stomach it anymore.
You know, you've lost me, my darling. The person who made me happier than I'd ever been.
That's me.
No, it ain't.
And this time she just says no, like, you know, I don't have a father anymore, and goes.
My dad died a long time ago. I buried him. And my mum's buried next to him. I don't know who you are, but you ain't my dad. I'm an orphan.
Most things kind of Den can cope with. He just kind of moves on, is a bit of a hustler, but I think to be rejected by Sharon actually really, really cuts him to the core.
Den had lost the only thing he ever loved.